Speaker Fraley, would you do our invocation, please?
Dear Father, we have so much to be grateful for, so many blessings, and we're grateful for you being here in our midst today. We pray for an end to bloodshed everywhere. Protect our men and women in uniform who travel to the dangerous corners of the world in order that we can to protect our freedom. Bless them for the selfless acts they perform so that we can enjoy freedom to worship you. And dear Father, we pray that you will lay your hands on world leaders and guide them in the challenges they face. We pray for repentance for ourselves and for our nation. We ask your blessing on those who have experienced the ravages of Mother Nature, particularly in Haiti. May they be assisted in their need and give them hope for the future. We also ask your blessing on the sick and suffering, especially the elderly. May they find relief through Jesus Christ, who offered his life for our sins. And dear Father, bless each person here today. Protect them in their travels and give us the wisdom to make wise decisions for the people we represent. In Jesus' blessed name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Kara Callan Watts. Ahani. Bill Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzards.
Here.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishenhawk. Here. Meredith Fraley. Yes. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Here. Ron Garvin. Chet Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Hannah Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell. Chris Soap. David Thornton. We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Next, I would entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of both the donations and contributions subcommittee of January 11th and the regular session of February 9th and 16th.
So moved.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Next, we'll have our reports. And first is our financial report from the Cherokee Nation. Treasurer Kelly Catcher, please.
Good afternoon, Council. You have my written report. Just a couple of things I would like to mention. First, if you look at our revenues for the first quarter of fiscal year 2010, you will notice that they are below the 2009 level. We've been looking at these, particularly the general fund revenues, and doing scenario plans. I've visited with Doug on several occasions about the budget and how we're going to address this should they continue to track at this level. The administration is in the process of looking at all our general fund budgets and will more than likely be bringing some modifications either at the March or the April E&F committee meeting to adjust our budgets to be more in line with what we expect the revenue to come in at. There will be some carryover. It's going to be relatively small, and hopefully that will offset some of our revenue shortfalls. But I mean, the gist of it is for fiscal year 2010, we're not going to have a big carryover number to bring forward in March to do a lot of extra appropriations. The second thing I wanted to mention was that I've been working with Norma Merriman, and we have found a source to make sure that we get the funeral expenses for our former Deputy Chief Hastings Shade taken care of, and that should be done tomorrow. Wow. I got applause. I'm going to sit down.
There you go.
Any other questions?
Councilor
I
Fisher.
got a question. I had a call. Can you tell me on our stimulus money, our ARRA money, like rehab windows projects, does everybody have to be bonded on all of it?
I don't know. If you want to send me some specific information, I'll check into it. Off the top of my head, I don't know if I don't think it's a requirement specifically for Aura, but
Does
Naha,
Shelley work with Shelley McLaren?
Yeah.
She works in your department. Okay, she's the one.
okay.
She is the one that told one of my Puro vendors that all the ARRA money had to be bonded.
Well, I would
But
rely
then we
on,
turned around
I'm sorry.
and rehab housing, we're not bonding. Windows with the ARRA money, we're making them bond.
Okay.
And there's,
I will look into that.
okay, there's a problem with that and I'm getting calls. The threshold on bonding amounts, there was something said to him from her about $100,000 amount.
That, I believe generally, any project over 100, we do require a bond. But again, I'd like to be able to verify that. The rules and regs just don't stick in my head like they used to when I was 30 years younger.
I'll send you an email explaining this one so I can talk
Okay,
afterwards and see if we can't get
sure.
something.
Yeah.
Are there any questions from Ms. Cager?
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Next is Cherokee Nation Entertainment, followed by Cherokee Nation Businesses, David Stewart.
All right, here we go again. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, it's kind of a good news, bad news story. We're below budget at C&E, but our revenue is just slightly below what it was last year. Most of our net income decline is attributable to higher payroll, and our strategy for that is to, when we open Ramona, we're going to be able to put some of our employees over there, and when we open the hotel in West Siloam, we'll be able to attrition some of those employees to there. So we have some ways by the end of the year that we're going to try to fix that. We're focused on reducing costs, and the company is rallying around everything that we can think of to cut costs and save money. So we're very focused on that. The Hard Rock Center is on schedule to open in August. The banquet room at West Siloam is complete, and the hotel will open in June. Our employment percentages with Cherokee and Native American are, in total, are holding about the same percentages, but we're not really hiring any new people right now. So we're in pretty much a holding pattern from an employee standpoint until we get through the Ramona and the hotel opening. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of changes in those percentages. West Siloam revenue exceeded prior year by almost 6%, and Roland and Salisaw combined December by about 5%. So we're seeing good trends. When we look at Catoosa, we see a trend downward in April when some competition opened, and now with Hard Rock opening, we're seeing those trends come back up. So we're seeing some daylight here as a result of the Hard Rock opening. So we're very optimistic about that. I have some very important people here that I would like to introduce you to. These are members of our leadership challenge, and you all would come up. I'm going to introduce you. And I told them they only had to talk for 5 to 7 minutes each. But I hope they don't answer like the guy earlier, I don't know what you're going to ask me. I have no idea what we're doing. All right. All right, so I want you all to stand over there. All right, let's start with you, Steve. Steve is at Catoosa, right? Correct. Keep it 5 to 7.
So far, so good.
But he's a materials manager, and I'll just let you talk about what you do and how long you've been with the company and that kind of thing.
I've been with the company for 5.5 years. I manage all the warehouses, all locations, and I'm also over fleet and distribution, which means I'm over the phones and the mail and the vehicles.
And you're part of the leadership team.
That's correct.
So once you give them a flavor of what that's about, what you do.
We just recently started this, and the 4 of us did, and we meet once a month, and we have different speakers all the time. They're teaching us how to lead, and I don't know.
Yeah, we had Jay Hanna come in and talk. We had different people come in and talk about their experiences, and they get to kind of just an ad hoc discussion of what's going on.
And Steve's last name?
Martindale.
Okay, thank you.
Can we ask questions?
Yes, sir. Councilor Watts.
I I'd like all four of them to consider answering this.
Okay.
But I'm intrigued. I think that's excellent, the leadership team. I'm curious what things you think in that context that you might could do to help positively change the corporate culture for folks at CNE.
You know, I think it's just so positive, I don't know we can get any better.
He answered for all of us.
That's right.
Well, part of my experience in the past few months is David comes in each month and visits with us, and he asks us what we hear from our employees and employees we work with. And he's genuinely interested, and some may not be willing to always be forthcoming about it, but, you know, we are trying to come together and find out the issues we're seeing. You know, if morale is low, what can we do to help morale? And I always want to increase morale. That's my...
Well, in the communities, how we can better help the communities themselves. You know.
It also helps us work as a team too.
Yes.
You know, we didn't know a lot of the other people until we came together because they're from all locations.
I mean, you know, through volunteering, through when David comes in, it gives us knowledge of what's going on throughout the Cherokee Nation, so we can kind of share some of that information with our peers. So it's just helping to spread that positive image of really the good that the nation does.
That's excellent. Thank you.
How many people are in
See,
your
that wasn't
class?
bad.
I didn't even talk to them beforehand.
You just let them answer.
So how many
I
people
believe
are?
there's about 30 in our class.
Yeah.
And this is our third or fourth round of this group. And so it allows, you know, different, it's cross-functional, it's cross-departmental, it's cross-property. And so they get to talk and you know, what's going on. And well, don't just tell them who you are, so we'll get that done. You just do your deal. I've got it here, but you guys
Councilor
are.
Fisher, excuse me, Councilor Fisher, I'm sorry.
I don't think I heard it, maybe I just wasn't listening. All these are Cherokees, right?
Yes.
Correct, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tell us where you're from.
And tell us where you're from too, please.
Catoosa.
Okay.
I was actually born in Stillwell, so, you know, I grew up in Stillwell. My name is Stacy Hall, and I'm procurement manager. My role is operations, so anything involving day-to-day business for all the communities themselves, that's where we focus on. All the gaming supplies, food and beverage, anything involving operations I
So
handle.
you're in compliance with all the tarot stuff,
Absolutely,
right?
we're doing our best.
That's also the right
Doing
answer.
our best.
Two
you
for
know.
two.
That's right, that's right.
All right. Tiffany?
I am Tiffany Rivas. I have been with CNE about 7.5 years. I started my career in internal audit, moved to gaming accounting, food and beverage and an analyst, and in the past few weeks I just moved to corporate community and cultural relations, working for Gina. And in that role I will be, throughout my years, I worked on the volunteer side as well, leading American Diabetes Association, leading those teams to fundraise and the Heart Association. And so through that, I will continue to do that, stay in that role for the diabetes, but also get our CNE employees, CNB employees out in the communities and helping the Cherokee people. And I'm very excited about my new role and for working for Gina as well.
We have to push on that is to, for all of our employees to have a way to get out in the community and see our people and be a part of it. And so it's a, you know, when you have 3,500 employees and they're dispersed around, it's a major accomplishment to get them all together and get them on the spot to, you know, get out there. So we're doing a good job, and we have a lot of dedication within the company to do that. You know, it's not just lip service, it's we actually have people that are dedicated to this cause, and so that's a part
And
of
I've
that.
seen employees already that they weren't interested in it, and we had a few that just got to work on a project recently in December, and they're like, wow, I want to do that again. It was neat to see, you know, what I can do for other people. And so I'm looking forward for more employees to get that feeling and how rewarding it is.
And you're from where?
I'm from Sepulpa.
Councilor Kellen Watts.
And it's directly to what David said. So since it's not lip service, does that mean it's a portion of their yearly evaluation then?
Well, it is, right now, the comp committee has put it on the, kind of on the performance evaluation stage as a discussion, because we're not really prepared. We have to accumulate the hours, you have to have a measurement goal, and you can't just say it's part of your comp if you don't have a measurement, a way to capture the data. So this year, we're working on methods of capturing the data and introducing it to the company, and then so it'll be well entrenched and everybody will have an opportunity to do it. And so then next year, we'll look at adding that as a piece of the comp plan.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's on its way.
My name is Angela Job. I grew up in Sperry, Oklahoma. Currently live in Owasso. I've been with C&E 4.5 years. I'm a manager within our IT department. I have the project services team and the audio video team. Our teams are very heavily involved in the expansion projects. So it was really neat to go in and help implement the Hard Rock and the West Highlands hotels and now see our guests enjoy those facilities, and we got to see it from the ground up. We have the audio videos, so we did the televisions and the music and page and that kind of stuff.
So if that doesn't work,
But I really enjoy working in IT because we kind of get to implement some of the technology behind it that really makes some of our processes easier for our guests. More guest efficiency, and hopefully they can spend more time out at the gaming floor or enjoying some of our other venues.
all right, so any more questions for the group? Thought it'd be good for you to see your face with some of our people.
Well, we appreciate your coming down and being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay, so any questions about C&E?
Councilor Hoskin.
I had a question about C&E and purchasing energy, specifically natural gas. And one thing that's driving this, I have a constituent who I think is in the business of being a natural gas broker, and she was curious about what the tribe does in terms of purchasing. And I have no idea about it, and I wondered if you kind of walk us through how you negotiate those rates and things like that.
Right, well, we have usually centralized purchasing. There are some things that don't happen that way, but centralized purchasing would happen on that. And in that case, we go out for RFP and we negotiate price or take hard bid. And right now, we buy our gas, I believe, from One Oak, and we deal as a commercial buyer directly from the supplier. So that's how that works.
And you guys internally negotiate with
Yes.
One Oak for?
Yes.
And it's my understanding that the nation actually purchases from a different supplier. I don't know if you have any knowledge of that.
I don't
but
have
that's-
any knowledge of that.
But it's separate in terms of the purchasing?
From Cherokee Nation and
Right.
us? Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, thank
But
you.
within our companies, or C&B and C&E, we have a common purchasing, method.
Right, and it's my understanding you guys are in the middle of that gas contract at the moment. I mean, it's,
I think so, yes. Yeah.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions, Mr. Stewart, on C&E?
I have one question.
Yes, Councilman Watts.
Thank you. I just would appreciate if you would work with Ms. Kelly to make sure that your numbers in your report match the numbers in her report for the percentage of Cherokees employed by C&E, because you're off like 10 or 12%.
You report on Native Americans and you report Cherokee citizens.
And he reports Cherokee citizens, and his, it has 58.3%.
58% Cherokee.
And then it's, yeah, 43.96%.
What's the difference?
No, I just put in the numbers that your HR people told me.
Okay, we'll try to get that figured out.
And I would like a response to know what it really is.
Yeah, well, it's been 58 for a long time, so
Well,
I'll verify it.
that
But I
quickly drew
get,
my attention.
I get mine from the horse's mouth, so, and they get
Well, they're
theirs.
saying theirs
I don't know
get it
that's
as
one
well,
horse you
so.
get yours from.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, sure. Yes, Councilor Collins.
I'll make sure.
Have we discussed, and we may have you discussed on how the report will be next month now that we passed out of rules of the board consolidation? How? I'm just
Okay,
curious.
the way I see that happening is we will still have reports from our key subsidiaries like C&E and C&I, and so it won't change much, but my discussion will be at a strategic level from all the companies, so I'll be able to have some input on, where the companies as a whole are heading, just kind of a global look. So that will be the one thing I think that will be new. Yeah. But otherwise, I don't expect you're going to see much change. We're going to try to standardize what everybody talks about. Your report will be more standardized. Information will be, more.
Good deal. Thank you.
Cherokee Nation business.
Okay, Cherokee Nation businesses, the consolidated net income is up from what C&E is. So our subsidiaries are all profitable. Okay, they're not making a ton of money compared to C&E, but they're profitable. And so I see, considering the economy and all of the difficult times, I see all of our companies buckling down, making good decisions, and being very aggressive with their business. So I'll just leave it at that. If there's any questions about the different companies, I can answer those. I asked Cheryl Collenauer to be here, but she had a previous engagement. She'll be here at the next meeting if her schedule allows, just so that she can present her company and you can, put a face to the company and talk to her about that. Our loan facility is at about $47 million, a capacity of $119, so we still have plenty of capacity there for our diversification and so on. All of that is scheduled to maximize in September and max out, and then we'll start paying it back down. We still haven't paid all the money on the construction and so on. We're focusing on the chief's mandate that our acquisitions, in a broad stroke, create jobs, are profitable. In many cases, we're going to look at companies that are not based in the 14 counties because we have to develop competency, and then we'll bring some of those jobs here. In fact, on the IT side, I think we have an IT lead that may put a call center here, which is great news. So we're going to, the first thing we do is how can we get that work back home, and I think we're going to have a good example of that within 90 or 120 days of acquiring this new company that's based in Colorado. Shared services, be getting those down into the subsidiaries. I met with the team leaders and top management at C&I to talk about their strategic direction, and we're going to get them resources to implement and get their business structures, give them the resources they need to be successful. So that's high on the list for me at this point. So that's C and B. I'd be happy to answer any other questions. We have a Saturday board meeting coming up. So,
any other questions for Mr. Stewart? Well, we'd like to congratulate you on being named one of Oklahoma's most admired CEOs.
Thank you. Well, one of them. I didn't win it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And we did receive an award from the National Indian Gaming Association at RES conference for our effort in our tarot work to deliver business to Indian-owned companies. So it was a visionary award awarded to the company, and I accepted it on behalf of the company. And so that was kind of a big deal, and so we're pleased with that. Compared to a lot of the other tribes, our percentages are pretty high in what we do. So I was pleased with that. So,
well, congratulations on that. Councilor Butler.
Back to C&E, David, I've noticed on the contributions that we make to other organizations have been cut considerable. Have any of them been eliminated? Or are you just cutting back on them?
No, there are some that are eliminated. In fact, what we choose, and Gina's here to talk a little more about that if we need to, but what we do is we take some big organizations and we try to make an impact on some, like the Diabetes Association, so we might adopt that one and drop 2 or 3 off and make a bigger impact, and then next year we drop them off and do something else. So there are some, these nonprofits are having a difficult time as well, so we're trying to be sensitive to that, but at the same time, that takes away from our profits at C&E and reduces the dividend, and we have plenty of Cherokees that need our help. So those are tough decisions. There's always some controversy over that, but so the answer is yes, there are.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Stewart? Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Next is Cherokee Nation Industries, Mr. Dvorsky.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For the month of December, C&I's revenue was $7,739,000 versus a budget of $7,908,000, so we were fairly close on a revenue basis. Operating profit amounted to $96,000 versus a budgeted loss of $360,000, so we beat our budget by $456,000. On a year-to-date basis, we have a profit of $328,000 versus a budgeted loss of $1,036,000. Cherokee employment for the month of December amounted to 72%, and Native American employment was 82%. I believe you have my written report. Answer any questions you may have.
Yes, Councilor Sullivan.
Yeah, the last time you were here, Mr. DeVore, we asked for a signature document. I don't believe I've been forwarded that document yet.
Okay. Signature authority document. I'll get that for you.
Thank you.
Councilor Jordan.
No, also last time y'all were here, I asked for a year's worth of minutes, and I haven't received those yet either.
Year's worth of what?
Of minutes of your meetings?
Those were forwarded to CNE, and I assume you'll be getting them very shortly.
Melanie or?
Walker.
Okay, they'll probably go to, to Melanie, so we'll make sure that happens.
When did you forward them?
Gwen, I believe, forwarded them yesterday or the day before. Or the minutes for last year, last 12 months.
Councilor Fisher.
I asked at council meeting about the Bixby project
Yes, ma'am.
for you to send us a list, and you were supposed to have it by midweek. You sent an email last week.
Yes,
Payments or
the
what
analysis is finished. The person who prepared it was out today. I'm going to review it with her in the morning and send it on to CNE. And you should be receiving it in a day or so.
Send it to Doug and
Okay,
Meredith, the speaker.
Melanie.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. DeVorstead?
You know, we did wrap up the audit reports, I believe, for all the companies.
Yes, we
So
did.
BKD reported to our audit committee. We had several issues that have been addressed with the committee, but they're satisfied that those are taken care of, but the audit reports are done and complete. So we'll be able to, therefore, I don't know if you received a copy yet, but they are finally finished.
And I'll drop off a copy for each one of you to Doug next week.
And we're happy to see a profit rather than a loss.
Don't mind.
This bad. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just
Councilor Jordan.
a point of clarification, he had a budgeted loss
Right, I know that, but he still made a profit this month. That's
over
what I
his
was calling.
budgeted loss.
No, we had.
I mean,
we had-
I know he made 96,000, but he made the statement that he made 400-some thousand over his budget, but he had budgeted a loss.
Right, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
Okay, yes. But it was still a 96,000 profit for the month. Okay,
Thank you.
next is Career Services, Ms. Kelly.
I know you guys are glad to see us. This is the third time this month, and what's that old saying, third time's a charm. We have some leftover stuff from the last two meetings that we said we were going to bring forward. I think there was three things you all asked for to have for this meeting. One was our day work budget. The other one was our summer youth, 3 budgets and comparisons. Then you asked about a comparison from human services to day work, and I have all that information. And I think the person that asked for that was Councilwoman Jordan, so I'll wait till she gets back in here. I have the quarterly report that we sent to you. This is a graph that we sent out. My staff forwards information to Anna. Anna combines her stuff with it, and this is the quarterly report. You all have that if you've got any questions about that, and then I'll go into the rest of the stuff.
Any questions on the report? Yes, Councilor Blaser.
Diane, I went through the report, and I'm not sure that I understand it completely, but I don't know if you had this. On page 14 on the participants by county, you have Delaware County at 42 participants.
Wait a minute, which report? You're looking at the day work report that I gave out at the last meeting.
Yes.
I didn't bring that one with me.
Oh, you don't? But anyway, the last meeting, you're showing 42 on page 14 of Delaware County.
Can someone shore that, please, from our book?
No. It's, which, are you looking at, which graph are you looking at?
The Cherokee Day Work Program,
Okay.
participants by county. You're showing, Delaware County, there's 42 participants.
Yeah.
And then if you look over on page 17, you're showing 1,060 paid out. Just,
Okay,
You know,
you
something's
remember
not adding up
that
to
was
me.
brought up before because if you're on the day work program, you may end up with a card on Monday, you may end up with a card on Tuesday, and when you calculate all that, the cards are going to be more.
oh, it's confusing because
Well, that's why I've got different graphs in there. I've got the payout graph on how much we paid out, because somebody had asked to know how many cards we actually, and there, I think it was like 11,000 cards.
and it could be, this is by county, and I'm not sure it's for 1 month here on this page, on page 14. And then you go over here, this is from October 1 through February 1. So it covers several months, and it's confusing. I'm not sure how to read
Up
it.
at the top, it says 10/109 through 2/110.
Yeah, okay, back on page 14, what is that for? Is that for a month, or?
Yes, that's for a month. Just
Okay,
looks like it makes a month.
So then it could be fairly close then. If you're getting 42 for that month, and your payout's at 1,060, so it could be close. Okay, that straightens it up.
Okay.
Councilor Hoskin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On, just direct your attention to the chart, Cherokee Nation Day work sites on page 37 of our book. And again, I know you may have gone over this at our last meeting, but are these all the locations that have existed since the inception of the program, or the current sites, or what?
These are the work sites that the day workers turned in the report. There are more since this report was done. This report was done about a month ago.
I just wonder if, and maybe I'm missing it, but, in Craig County, we certainly have the housing office, and I thought maybe people could be working there. There's not very many participants from Craig County, I realize, but I just wonder, is there not an opportunity to work locally for these folks? And in Nowata County, we have housing, we have the clinic in Veneta. There's been no work done at those sites, is that correct?
I visited with Melissa this morning in regards to the No Water Clinic. We have to have a supervisor, we have to have someone working that county. And right now, Nettie Deathridge is working Craig County 2 days a week. We do not have anybody that goes up that far except just for field days. And she said that she and I are going to try to work something out where somebody can help us up there at the clinic so they can place people up there. Now, as far as housing, Mr. Sutherland has been out with surgery, and he and I visited this week. There are a couple of the housing sites where some of the supervisors will not take day work labor, and
Why is that?
they prefer to work by themselves.
But is that the end of the discussion? Or
No,
they deferred?
no.
Yeah.
Like I said, Mr. Sutherland has been out, and he said that he would address that with his managers when they have their staff meeting.
Yeah, and the discouraging thing is, in my neck of the woods, we've pretty much exhausted the tribally run facilities, the clinics, which I think has some sort of inherent problems.
That's
that they've
basically
got
what
to
I
do.
explained to Mr. Sutherland, because if we don't have the housing and the health areas up in those northern counties, then we don't have any place
And
to
I
put
know
them.
he'll appreciate that we're so far into this program that's very popular, that we've spent a lot of money on, and yet, in my neck of the woods, he sort of corners the market as far as where job sites can be, and yet the supervisors are trumping the ability
Well-
of my folks to get a job there. I mean,
You
that
have
is-
to
that is very
understand, Councilman
discouraging.
Hoskin, we have to have a supervisor for so many laborers, and if we had 5 or 6 laborers, and we only had 1 maintenance person up there, they may be limited on what they could take. And until they get extra additional people up there to supervise, we can't just place workers up there without having supervisors.
I understand, there's a certain ratio. So if they said, well, at the Veneta, Buffington Heights, if they said, well, if you give us a single day laborer, it'll throw off our ratio, then I guess I could understand that. But we don't know that that's actually the explanation. It could just be that they prefer to work by themselves, not that the ratio is going to be off.
why don't you give me the rest of this month, and next month, I can assure you the numbers will change. Like I said, Mr. Sutherland had some knee surgery, he's been out, and Melissa and I got together this morning because Nettie just started working up there for the summer youth, and she is the one who addressed this with me because I was unaware that we weren't placing.
And I'm not frustrated with you, I'm just frustrated with maybe a system that has allowed a frontline supervisor to say, thanks but no thanks.
But there could be a legitimate reason, and
There
I don't
could be.
know, so that's why we
There
need
could be, but
we
we're
need
so
to
far
find out
into the
before we-
program, so many dollars have been spent that now it's
Yeah.
frustrating in hindsight. But I know you appreciate that.
We are on top of it, and give me a month and we should probably have some more workers up there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This next report is the day work. We have 336,000. We estimate around 240 participants at 4 days a week, and that's 7 weeks. We figure that by April the 12th or April the 19th, that's when most of the day work money could be exhausted. That's going to vary. We have had the numbers fluctuate because people have applied for their income tax, and as a result of it, those numbers have fluctuated. We do not have near the numbers we had in December.
Councilor Connell.
While you're on this, I think this ties into it. If you could just kind of give me your brief interpretation of page 36 here, I would, because I'm looking at this number jumping out. Here you go. I'm looking at
I
that number.
apologize. I
That's
brought this
okay.
one at the last meeting, so,
I'm-
okay.
I'm just curious, sounds like we're being alerted to a possible, just kind of reading the tone of the whole page, I want to make sure that we're all aware of kind of where we're heading with this.
Yeah, that's the estimation. We were asked to put a budget together on what it would take to run through September 30th, knowing that our money that we had would not actually go that far. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to limit it so that we don't have to turn people away. But bear in mind that there are some days we don't have the job sites. The other piece of information that I have, I told you that there was a report, the report that's in your book. This is the rest of that report. There is information that I told you that we did not have. The day work staff went back to get this. This report deals with the gender of the day work people, their age groups, educational level, whether they have disabilities, their family size, whether they're veterans, and whether or not they're seasonal or chronically unemployed. So these are the 8 things that I told you that was not in the last report that the chief asked us to go back and pull out. So this will be incorporated in the report that you have in your book, so that when we give you the next report, it'll have all of it combined. And this information here is real important so that they can get an idea as to what the educational levels, the age groups, and whether or not they're single heads of household. So you can look that over, and if you've got questions, you can ask me at the next meeting if that's okay with you. The next thing you asked for was a comparison. I believe it was Councilman Jordan. She asked if there was any numbers from general assistance and Nahasda residential and emergency. Norma Merriman had put this report together, and Norma was working on it during lunch, and I went to lunch and I came back. So here's the report, and I'll give this to Robbie and she can make a copy for you. But the numbers fluctuate from 08 to 09. There is some months that it has been higher, some months it's been lower. And her narrative says the programs listed are the programs that would have been the most affected by day work. It would not be unusual for a person to qualify for Nahasda or tribal emergency assistance depending on their situation, and to also be on the day work program. The general assistance program would be the program that they would most likely not be eligible for if they are participating in the day work program, because the day work money is counted as income on general assistance. However, at least 75% of those receiving general assistance are on GA, have medically related reasons for being on the program, and those folks would probably not be able to participate in the day work program. So I will give this to Robbie, and then she can make a copy of it for you. So that was the second report you asked for. The third thing was summer youth. Here's the information on the youth program. Jeff Vance is, got flyers. They will go out to the schools in March 1st. And this is some comparisons. The second sheet that's coming around is the comparisons from 2009 to 2010. And you can see there's a big drop there, but we're going to 20-hour slots. And that's because where you all had allocated money last year, well, that money is over here for day work now. So that mothers, fathers, and adults are getting those resources as opposed to the kids. So we've taken the slots and we've cut them in half, and this is the report for economic stimulus and tribal supplemental youth. Let's see. Flyers will be going out. I believe it was you, Councilman Hoskin, asked about if anybody was going to be working in your area. Melanie Dodge has agreed to let Nettie work 2 to 2.5 days in that area, so she'll be working with the summer youth. And we are hiring, I think, 3 or 4 more counselors for the summer. And all the counseling staff are now working for the summer youth program. They're not working day work, except in the field offices. They'll still have to do day work because we don't have the luxury of having more than 1 to 2 people in those offices. Salisaw is taking the slot that we had in Delaware County. We had a lady quit, and we only have 1 counselor in Sequoia County. Sequoia County has one of the higher caseloads, so that position is being moved down there. And Gwen Shopouch, who was the floater, is going to be based in Delaware County. So we still have several counselors in Delaware County. We just don't have them in Sequoia County. And the caseload has gone up considerably. Let's see. On the Tarot side, with the executive order, we have started meeting to work on our policies and procedures. Yesterday, Anna, Callie, and I met with the acquisition management for Cherokee Nation and the business enterprises, and they've got 2 weeks to work on their policies. Once those are finished, then our policies will go with it, and by the end of March we should start rolling out our training for all of the programs inside the Cherokee Nation as well as the business side the first 2 weeks in April. And then we will set up training sites in all 3 different locations for our tarot vendors. And that will happen in April and May. We've got a lot of things going on. I have some information here about a business that Anna and I traveled to Salisaw on several weeks ago. It's called Food Share America. Julie Ferguson, the Economic Development Director, somebody wants these in Food Share Director was there along with the people who own the company, the McKnights, and they are looking at a building that was a trucking building there in Salisaw outside going towards Marble City, or they're going to build one in the industrial park. It will employ around 100 people. Ann and I met with the chief. This one is not a done deal yet, but it looks very promising, and it would open some doors for about 100 people in the Sequoia County area. Let's see, Facet will do a groundbreaking. They're going to start moving dirt next week. Seth called, and they're real excited because this has been almost 2 years in trying to get their building up for their building, and he's just turning cartwheels. But they're going to try to do a groundbreaking next week. They're working with Mike Miller and Diana from our office. They definitely want Cherokee Nation there. And tomorrow we'll get the date. It'll either be the 10th, 11th, or 12th, which will be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And there will be some invitations go out. So we definitely want you guys there.
Councilor Smell.
Does somebody have a contract on that job?
Yes, they do.
And who may that be?
Ross Construction. They Facet doesn't have anything to do with Cherokee Nation, and Facet did bid. I guess they bid it out, and that's who they went with. But anyway, they're excited about it, and they're moving on it. We are working with the Ross Group. John Overacker has met with them, and they're willing to work with us to get people hired down there. So we're excited about it too, because it's going to bring some jobs in that area that we haven't had in a while. AERT, I spoke with Al Drinkwater this afternoon. They will be rolling things out in about 2 weeks. They hope to have things up and going by the middle of March. There was a roadblock on the road with the county commissioners in Adair County, but that's not going to deter them from starting their business. They will start out with about 20 to 25 people and then add on gradually. Gatorade, Chris Weber called from Mays County. He wanted to thank us for all of our help and support with their company, and he was sorry that, they had to sell it. But he said it was set up for 8 lines. They never got up past 2 lines, and he said it was for expansion purposes. And of course, there's a cement company that's laying people off up there, and we are working with Don Berger and that group up there. There's going to be a job fair up there in April. Chris?
There is some expansion going on at one of the cable companies, and have we checked into how many jobs they might be adding to that facility?
I'm not really sure. I know that Melanie met with Marsha Cunningham day before yesterday. She was in the prior meeting with Marsha, and Marsha's been working with Melanie, and I don't know. I know that Melanie had some information she wanted to share with me, but we didn't have time to connect
I would be
today.
interested just if we could get a number on that to determine the potential there.
Okay, I'll follow up on that. Next Thursday, we are going to be doing a presentation for this Food Share America. They're coming here to the Cherokee Nation, and we're bringing in all the employment service, VOTEC, everybody to share with them what benefits they can get. And we're also going to be going to Siloam Springs with Bill Langley to meet with a potential company that afternoon. So Ben and I are not letting grass grow under our feet. We're still moving on, trying to get businesses externally. We also met with Sharon Bertram and the internal auditing group, and they're looking at coming in to do a internal audit of our Taro operation. So we'll be reporting more on that as we get things approved on that. Let me see. I think that's pretty much it.
Yes, this fishing rod.
I have a question, Diane. It's about the email I sent. Everything's taken care of. The Carol vendor got a call this morning. Said, come pick up your cashier's check. You got a call from somebody in rehab to come pick up your cashier's check at the bank because the money wasn't there. But they said they received a call from Cherokee Nation to talk to the bank president because the gentleman, and what it is I'm wondering how you all handle stuff like this, to talk to the bank president because the money was coming even though it wasn't there. Which struck me as a little odd because, I mean, that's almost like we're calling saying, would you loan him some money? So could you check into that? I mean,
I'm
that's...
looking at you, John. Do you know anything about it?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're talking about the window.
Yeah.
The window. Could you send me an email on that, please?
Yeah, and it just
Exactly
concerned me, and the reason I brought it up to you and Doug and Melanie is the fact that they received a call from somebody at Cherokee Nation stating that, and I'm wondering if we got a little loose on controls or something to...
I don't know. But we will follow up on it.
Yes, Ms. Cager.
Well, my ears perked up, but are you saying that someone from Cherokee Nation called and said the
There was
check
2
will be
calls
good
made.
later?
There was 2 calls made, and I know...
Yeah, I'd like to know
the
about
name
that
of
too.
one. Okay.
I'm sure.
Because, well, and just to, if it was a program person, they can't make problems like that because they can't cut checks. So, I would like to know the specifics also.
I'll go on that side so they can look into it.
Okay. Okay. Counselor Calvin Watts.
Thank you. I apologize, I stepped out of the room. Did you say when people start applying for the summer work program?
First part of March, March 1st. I don't know
And
exactly what day that falls
will
on.
there be a news release sent out everywhere, or how will that be?
There will be information sent out, but they've already started contacting the schools. We always try to go to the schools first, and then there will be news releases that will come out. We'll take applications during the month of March and April. And like I told everybody, we will not have that many over income. And I know that you'll be getting a lot of calls, but we just don't have them.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions for Ms. Kelly?
I-
Yes, Councilor Buzzer.
I've got one thing, I want to make sure I understand the day work program.
Okay.
Did you give us policies on who's eligible to get that? Have you given us policies on? If you have, I don't remember.
I think I did, but I'm not really sure.
Well,
And I'll
let
go
me just
back
ask-
and I'll make sure that we,
Let me
if
just
we
ask-
didn't, we'll get the copies to you.
Let me just ask a question then. If a kid is 18 years old and they still live with their parents at home, are they eligible to work in the day work program?
It depends. Some of them are married that are living there for certain reasons, and then there could be somebody that's in a rehabilitation center that could be living there. There's all different kinds of reasons why they may be there temporarily. We did have a young man who had just come out of a facility, and he had to move in with dad and mom until he could get his feet on the ground. And those are, you have medical information on that.
And just a follow-up, I've just noticed, and this kind of brought it up, I looked on the marital status continued, and man, there's a lot of single people that's working on the day work program, and that's kind of what spurred my question on, what did they do before the day work program come on? And it just surprised me that we have so many that's single. But anyway, I didn't know, and I know it's a difficult program to go and screen those people. So, you guys are doing a good job. I just had those questions. Thank you.
Next month, I will try to have some of the people that are working the day work program come so you can meet who they are. They're all Cherokee.
Any other questions? Thanks very much, Diane.
Thank you.
Next is Commerce, Ms. Knight.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You have a copy of my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Ms. Knight? By the way, I had the privilege of meeting your daughter yesterday, who's a page this week for Mike Brown.
Yes, I hope she was polite.
Yes.
Good.
She was doing well.
Good.
Yes, Councilor Buzzer.
And I was just looking at the dollars that you have in your budget that is for some of the program going, and we're 6 months out of the year from starting a new year, but do you have a lot of applications pending to review for the loan?
For the
I'm talking
loans?
about the RRP and the commercial and.
The ones that are pending are listed right on the first page.
Oh, okay.
So we have those. Our goal at this year, because that's not an actual annual budget, that's a revolving program, so
I see.
that's the money that we do have available to lend. Our goal this year is to loan $1 million out, and we've loaned $420,000 so far.
Okay, well, yeah, you answered my question, Chairman.
Councilor Jordan.
Thank you.
Anna, on those loans under investment in economy, loan dollars, what's the interest rate that we're loaning those out at?
It's the prime lending rate.
So what would that be?
Right now, it's about 3.75.
Thank you.
And I just clarify for you that these pending loans are completed applications. We
Okay.
still have a lot of people in various stages of business planning.
Councilor Jordan.
Yes, and we are getting collateral on each one of those?
On the microenterprise, the low-income microenterprise program, if they have good credit, we don't require solid collateral on it. It's a kind of either or. It's specifically for low income, but on the rest of the business loans, yes, we do.
So
we do
like
get
this
collateral.
one where you call it investment in economy, is that a collateral?
It would, if it went through the microenterprise low-income program, they could have good credit, and we could have weak collateral.
I mean, we wouldn't loan someone $250,000.
Oh, no. Those microenterprise programs only go up to $25,000, and
Okay.
typically they're around 5 or 10.
Okay, so these bigger ones all have collateral?
Definitely.
Okay.
And typically, we try to get real property.
Okay, so the only thing won't run away.
That's right.
Any other questions for Ms. Knight? Thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
Next item are consent items. There's a tarot certifications. There were 2 sheets, or a one-page sheet, and then a longer list. Yes, Councilor Calhoun Watts.
I make a motion to approve as recommended with the caveat that it includes the approval of the single sheet person, the bearskin cabinets or the bear
Okay.
content.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So the chairs are approved. Next is cemetery restoration. And there was a sheet passed out today with the additions on it. That we have Joseph Beck's Cemetery in Delaware County, in Old Green and Trail of Tears District, Fodder Cemetery, Trail of Tears, and Corntasset Trail of Tears. Do I hear a motion for their approval?
I make a motion to approve those.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so those are approved. Next are the law enforcement requests, and those were also passed out. Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Sequoia County Sheriff's Department, $3,612 split evenly between Restorant and Schoolbright, as well as Bayham Police Department and Roland Police Department for the same amount. Claremore Police Department, $2,035.56 was Calvin Watts, and none of those were in the original list, but they're all, should be in front of you.
Do I hear a motion for their approval? Motion. Okay. Councilor Hoskin, do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Pardon?
We have 8
No,
council.
we have 9.
I've been counting.
We have 9. I've been watching also.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Gotcha, my fault, sorry.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Next are the roads, and that begins on page 58 of your packet.
Mr. Chairman, for the roads for this month, we had a completion of 186th Street North project in District 8 and ended up with $1,983 each refund into Mr. Cobb and Mr. Ingram's account. The vehicle tax roads for the month, Wild Horse Mountain Road project, Mr. Thornton and Ms. Fulbright splitting at $50,828 each, as well as Marble City Road project. They're also splitting at $36,384 each. In District 3, this will deplete their FY10 motor vehicle tax.
Do you hear a motion for their approval?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Old business, there's none pending. New business, item 1 is our budget mod. Mr. Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a $7.7 million mod. $1.9 million of it is actually a budget modification, and $5.8 is reflected in grants that are received, with the majority of those grants being on, $4 million being on the diabetes carryover from FY09, as well as the LIHEAP program has a little over $1 million new award for this year, for FY 2010. There's some other smaller awards. Economic stimulus for Sequoia High School is $156,000, and a Native American Housing Block Grant economic stimulus for HUD for Sotero monitoring for $26,000. EPA has several carryover adjustments, and that pretty well sums up the $5.8 million. Now, the $2 million mod primarily is reflected as Nahasda Fund has a significant net increase, $1.7 million. And there's a modernization and rehab budgets that are moving significantly. We have, or primarily modernization is increasing by $2.9 million. That's partially offset by a reduction in modernization of non-economic stimulus housing plan funds in the 09 IEP. So we're reducing the 09 in housing plan modernization by $1.2 million, and more than replacing it with economic stimulus funds in the amount of $2.9 million. There's been quite a bit of discussion here in the last 3 or 4 weeks about obligating the economic stimulus
housing money, and this is further enabling that effort with the modernization increase. The what's called federal other funds is increasing by $141,000 as well with the juvenile drug court. It's a 4-year grant. This is the first year percent to that grant. It does have a small in-kind match as well as a very small cash match. And then the permanent fund is also increasing for that Gammon Education Trust transfer that was discussed in the previous meeting of $73,000. And again, that's interest earned on a $290,000 trust fund since it's been in place since February of 2001.
You'll hear a motion for the approval of the budget monitor.
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Any discussion? Councilor
I
Jordan.
do want to ask some questions. What are we doing now with the interest on the Gammon Trust?
Okay, this is a transfer. This is what's been requested is the transfer reflected in a budget modification to authorize transferring it from within the government to the Education Corporation for administering the scholarships. This is the next step that was discussed earlier about enabling that MOA or MOU, whatever it is, it's a MO something, to send that $73,000 to the Education Corporation to administer.
Have we gotten a legal opinion regarding whether we can actually take the interest in the trust away from our education department at Cherokee Nation and give it to an outside corporation? Will that violate the terms of that trust?
Well, I'm not qualified to answer that, Ms. Jordan, but that's why I did want to point it out in my review memo, because I wasn't clear either. I know with...
Mr. Henry, do you have a comment?
In 2001, I wrote an opinion as that the council needed to be very careful and follow the terms of the trust specifically. When this came back again, reiterated that memo along with some additional information. And also I gave the caveat that I am not a trust expert, but I do know that it is very important to follow the terms of the trust precisely. The trust, and correct me if I'm wrong, we have the copy of the trust here, says that the beneficiary is to be the Cherokee Nation Higher Education Program. Okay, so we can't give it to anyone else. Now, as to does interest cross that line, I can tell you I don't know. But whoever administers this program, you need to make sure that it follows the details of the requirements of the trust itself. All things being said, and I've expressed this to others, is why risk it? But if I can't give you a definitive answer, yes, that will violate the trust. It's $200 and some odd thousand. It's a lot of money. I know that the Education Corporation would be capable of administering the scholarships in terms of the trust, but I also know that the Department of Higher Education could also do the same thing. Secretary Knight is going to be taking on the new duties of director or group leader of education, and it will fall under her purview to if it stays here, to administer his trust, or to ensure that Cherokee Nation Education Corporation, if they are the ones who administer trust, she would be responsible to make sure that they follow the terms of the trust.
Mr. Chairman, to address the councilor's question, we have not requested a legal opinion as to whether this would be acceptable under the conditions of the trust. We could do that, ask the AG for an opinion on that, and if the council or committee would like to table that budget item until we receive such an opinion, that could be moved.
You still have the floor.
Out of an abundance of caution, and I too believe the Education Corporation is quite capable of administering this money, as well as the Education Department here at Cherokee Nation, but my fear is that if we in some way violate the terms of the trust, then we lose all the money. And I don't want to be the body that would happen to. And I think out of an abundance of caution, we should seek a legal opinion. And hopefully she has someone in her department, the AG has someone in her department that if they're not well-versed in trust law, that they will get someone that's well-versed in trust law, and let's seek a legal opinion and see what that says, be guided by that. So I would make a motion that we pull that from the budget mod and table it until such time as we have that legal opinion to review.
Mr. Chairman, I would second that with the, just want to make clear, I really have two bases for saying it. One is I have a concern about the legal ramifications of this transfer. Number two, I'm not sure it's a good policy to see, and I want to direct your attention to a document that I asked Mr. Evans to pass out. It has to do with Cherokee Nation Education Corporation's last audited numbers from 2008, and I'll be bringing this up in later meetings, but I have a real concern about the policy reasons behind this transfer, whether it really should go to Cherokee Nation Education Corporation. So with that, I would second it.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded that we table this item from the budget mod. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'm sorry, Speaker Fraley, I did have you down to speak on that. Did you want to speak on that or on the budget mod itself?
No, I'm just going to ask, if it's all right, to ask Melanie the reasoning of why you're contracting with Cherokee Nation Education Corporation.
Well, I think, first of all, the nation itself had not, for whatever reason, we didn't get a resolution passed, we didn't create a program around it, and so no program exists to administer the scholarships as determined by the fund. I think the other, so there became questions, ultimately from the family about were we administering the trust and what kind of scholarships were we granting, and we had made no progress. I think CNEC came forward out of expediency and being able to implement this rather quickly, and that was one interest in our doing the MOA, so that we could get these scholarships underway with relative ease and expediency.
Okay, thank you. Actually,
Could I clarify a remark that I made for the record?
okay, yes, briefly.
The document I referred to is titled Cherokee Nation Education Corporation, December 31st, 2008, Independent Auditors Report. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any further discussion on the budget mod excluding the Gammon Trust? All those in favor of the budget mod, signify by saying aye. Aye. By acclamation. Any opposed? Okay, by acclamation. Okay. Are there any announcements? We entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.